Top of the morning to you. Happy St. Patty's Day. We're rocking green except Corey.
I didn't get the memo.
He's Lutheran according to Soren. JD in the island. Corey to my right. Cam to my left. Soren in his alley. Another edition of He Knows Ball. Vincent Goldschmidt here with you. And what a week it is. MLB season kicking off. The madness of this great month of March. Ready to go. Heck, even we got some more football news after our online experience back on Wednesday. Golly, man, this is going to be a great week. I'm fired up. I am fired up.
It's going to be a good month. It's going to be a great month. Really?
Yeah, it is phenomenal. JD, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good. This is if people that know me, this is my favorite time of the year for a number of reasons, especially March Madness, and my team is in it this year, so it's a little different feeling for me, so I can't wait.
John does own a school. He has his own university.
John University.
John is also a saint as well.
Saint John.
Yes, that's my other job after this.
Yeah.
He's a saint. Yeah. His name's John, and he wasn't creative enough to come up with the Rams and Eagles.
Yeah. So where did the Red Storm come from?
Yeah. Where'd it come from? Where'd it come from, John? Where are the Johnnies from?
I don't know. They used to...
John's dead now. John just died.
Yeah, the Red Storm just swooped in there.
Did we lose JD?
I think he muted his mic. You're back now.
Good. John had a little. John had a aneurysm over there. Maybe.
Hello?
AJ
Hello?
Hawk. AJ Hawk, you there?
Yeah, my plug it came back out. But I was saying that there used to be a different name before my time, so I kind of just I switched one thing up and then it became the Red Storm.
Yeah, let's go. Jimmy Fallon
nothing much to it, not special.
Yeah. Jimmy Fallon had a song for you guys. Like, you guys, this is your year, man.
I heard, yeah.
But we're gonna kick this off as we always do with a little bit of trivia. Does he know ball?
Does he know ball?
All right, boys. It is the wonderful time of March now, so we're going to go back a couple years, maybe a little bit more than a couple. But when was the first March Madness tournament and who won?
Oh, God.
Look at you, Gorm. 64.
Not even close.
Earlier? 32.
Warmer.
Earlier still?
39.
1939.
What? Bang!
All right.
Hey!
All right. All right.
And who won?
Cool. Yeah, who won it?
Shot in the dark.
Yeah, that was a total guess.
Who won March Madness back
in the 30s? Was it like Army or something?
No, it's a current Big Ten team.
Michigan State.
Mm.
No. Is it your school? Yeah. They won the conference this year though.
They did.
Good for them Wolverines, man.
1939.
Is it the Ohio State?
No, but it was. I'll get a little bit more into it. I'll give a little history lesson to all the viewers listening right now. But Ohio State came up with the idea
of March Madness.
Yes,
and they couldn't even win their own.
Nope.
Seems like an Ohio State thing to do.
JD, you got any final guesses?
You said it's a Big Ten team?
Current Big Ten team, yes.
Wisconsin?
No. The Oregon Ducks.
Yeah. Oregon.
Oh. It is the Oregon Ducks.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah, they're in the Big Ten.
The first tournament was held in 1939 and was won by Oregon. It was the idea of Ohio State coach Harold Olson. The National Association of Basketball Coaches operated the first tournament and for the NCAA from 1939 to 1950. Only 8 teams competed at the time, which each team was selected from a geographical district.
Well, Mr. Olson, thank you for this.
Yeah, Ohio State did something good.
Yeah, Ohio State finally did something. But thank you for this phenomenal idea. This is the most exciting time of the year until Thursday when my bracket gets destroyed and I put my head through a wall. But that's its own issue, okay? We're going to take it with what it is at the moment. And what it is, not quite today, but it starts tomorrow with the playing games. It is madness. And, Corey, there's a little bit of madness with you right now because you feel as if your team has been catching some strays.
Yeah, so Mr. Soren Swanson had the galls, the nerve to put on his Instagram story, why did UNC make the tournament? Well, you know what?
He is right.
Well,
He is right.
Listen, the only thing I could say, like, they had a really tough schedule this year and they got hot at the right time. Are they going to go far? Absolutely not. They might squeak out a win tomorrow.
They're 3.5-point favorites right now, man.
Yeah, but they're not going to beat Ole Miss. I'm sorry.
That's what you say now.
It's
some madness, Corey.
But I mean, Soren, I thought you had my back. I thought we were yin and yang. I thought, we were supposed to support each other.
Guess not.
Yeah.
No comment.
I don't know, man. I mean, after what CT did also had something.
Yeah,
to
shout
say
out to
it
CT,
as
another
well.
fellow Tar Heel.
Hammer. I'm sure he's watching.
Yeah, he sent a text to Soren. And he was ripping him a new one. He was like, "Well,
Good.
they have the."
That I like.
He was hot, man.
Yeah.
Love CT. CT, if you're listening and watching, we miss you, buddy.
But listen, all I could say is they had a tough schedule. I mean, look at their first 10 games, and that the tournament, I think it was in Maui, that first tournament. I mean, they were playing Auburn, Michigan State, they were playing some really tough teams. They got hot at the right time. I mean, they almost beat Duke in the ACC tournament, but unfortunately, we don't know how to let free throws play out. We like to just not know how to play basketball. So.
Yeah, I mean, looking at these losses that they've had, they're good teams.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You look at the beginning of the season before they even get into conference play. You got Kansas, who lost by 3.
Yep.
Now, Kansas isn't as great as they were when they started the season, but
Yeah.
at the time, they were ranked number 1. They lose to Auburn. They lose to 3 to Michigan State. They lose 15 against Bama. They lose by 6 to Florida. We named, what, 2 seeds and 2 3 and
Yeah.
2 1 seeds? Those are good losses. There's no such thing as a good loss, but those are good losses. And they lost to Duke 3 times, which is a bad look.
Yeah.
But
Shouldn't have lost that last game, but
yeah, it happens. Cry about it. All right, it's time to get into our brackets. I've been saying since last night, since the bracket came out, boys. I feel sick looking at my bracket.
yeah, I'm a little unsure, but
I think I'm gonna throw up. So we'll start in the South region. Auburn as the top seed, Michigan State as the number 2. What are some of the big things we're excited for, at least for day one? And we can kind of go through the region as well. Who do we think is going to bust brackets, or in our case, maybe help our brackets out early?
I think me and John, we're saying Yale over Texas A&M. And when they put the books down and they stop studying for their calc finals, they focus on ball. And John said before we started shooting that they just use math and trig and whatever it is to hit their to hit their 3-pointers and their shots. I mean, John, you agree? We were talking about this.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, they're playing an SEC team that's the best conference in the nation, but it doesn't matter. Yale will get them. And also in that same, whoever they would win, they win, and I think they're going to play UC San Diego.
Yeah.
I know Vinny is in agreement with me as
Yeah,
well.
I
I have
agree.
them winning
I agree.
2 games. I don't want to get too far ahead, but
Yeah.
I have them winning 2 games. So that's one of them. And another one, I wouldn't say a huge upset, but I could see New Mexico. Well, I have New Mexico winning in the first round against
Yeah.
Marquette.
Same here.
Yeah. I think this UC San Diego team, I was looking at this NCAA last night and just going through some of the big things, assist to turnover ratio, turnovers per game, field goal defense. They don't do anything bad. Now, again, have they played
No.
anyone legit? Not really.
No.
They play in a not so great conference. But when you rank, top 10, top 20 in every single category, something's got to go right for you. Now, I will say, with the matchup that they have in the first, I'm more worried about their first-round matchup than if they advance. Because this Michigan team is riding hot, and we've seen what happens when teams get hot at the right time. Michigan finished dead last in the conference last year and won it all this year. So I think that's probably the most interesting matchup I have from the South region. But yeah, I'm rocking with UC San Diego, man. I'm rocking with the Tritons. Another game I'm interested to see, Iowa State and Lipscomb. I'm not crazy about Iowa State. I'm not gonna lie. I do have Lipscomb winning. Yeah, I don't know what it is, man. I'm not bought in on Iowa State. I feel like that's gonna be of the 3 upsets that we've said. So we have in a mix of our brackets, the 12 seed, 13 seed, and 14 seed. Moving on. Cam, you also said you have San Diego State advancing if they beat UNC, correct?
Yeah, I mean, I could see it going either way. I mean, give a little shout out to Corey, but I think either one of those teams, whoever ends up winning those play-in games, I think they can take down Ole Miss.
Thank you, Kim.
Not the greatest team for college basketball, but it's also March, and usually at least one of those play-in teams gets through. Granted, I think we were talking about it earlier. I think I only have one, but I have a couple 11 seeds looking to move on to at least the round of 32. But I think San Diego State will do just fine against Ole Miss.
Couple of San Diego schools advancing. Could be nice. Could be nice for the area. Auburn is the one in that, and I got burnt from them last year. I picked them to beat those nerds from Yale, and those nerds proved me wrong and ruined my bracket day one. I'm hoping it doesn't happen again. If they lose to a 16 seed, a play-in 16 seed at that, I'm gonna be pissed. But I have them going pretty deep.
Yeah, I don't see them. The game that I see them losing is the round of 32 versus. I have Creighton. I don't know if you guys chose Louisville. I think that's the game they should be most worried about. I think if they can get through that, they can get to the Final Four. But I think that's going to be the real test.
The 1 versus 8-9 game is always difficult, and we've seen it stump teams before. I just think Auburn's learned from their mistakes, and I think this Auburn team is significantly better than the squad they had last year. I can't see them being bounced super early again. Next, we'll head over to the East. The Duke Blue Devils with Cooper Flagg projected to return as the top dogs. Alabama as the 2. Boys, I was saying it before, and I'm riding with them. I'm heavily invested in this squad, and I might look like an idiot for it. Give me the VCU Rams. Similar kind of thing with UC San Diego. Do a lot of things very well, especially on the defensive end. They out-rebound. They do a good job of winning the turnover battle. They do a lot of things well defensively. And especially in the first-round matchup, they have BYU, who is a high-powered offense. And I think if it gets to the shootout, BYU is going to have the advantage. But if VCU is able to slow this BYU team down, I think VCU could make a deep run. I think they can beat Wisconsin in the next round. I have them facing Alabama, who averages, 90-something points a game? And I see them, and I have them slowing them down. I have VCU going deep. Again, might look stupid. Again, when I finish this bracket that I feel sick and I might throw up, I genuinely mean it. This bracket is the most disgusting thing I have ever put together in my life. But what else are we excited for from the East region?
I mean,
BYU.
Oh yeah,
so I'm
BYU.
in the same game. BYU. I have them going to the Final Four. So that's very funny.
I think
oh, man.
one of the other things I'm looking for in the East region, and Baylor and Duke both have to win. Duke not so much worried about. Baylor didn't have a great year. I would love to see Baylor win, purely just to make me look smarter from our preseason picks.
Yeah, from the fall, yeah.
Yeah, and I think this Baylor team's solid. I don't think they're great. I don't think they'll beat Duke either. I think this Duke team, we always say with Duke, they're destined for greatness and they lose in the first or second round. But this Duke team is just too dang good, especially getting Flagg back as well. They're going to be scary.
Yeah.
This part of the bracket's a little bit boring. I think a lot of the top seeds are going to win.
Mm-hmm.
I have Liberty upsetting Oregon. I just kind of like this Liberty team.
I was close to that. I was close to thinking that.
I was kind of teetering, and I was like, I kind of dartboarded it.
But I agree with what you're saying. Like,
Oregon just been super hot.
Yeah.
That's the thing. That's why
the East is like, I don't want to say the most predictable.
But yes, it
group,
is.
But yeah, like literally, I think I have basically every top seed winning it out besides Oregon beating Arizona. But I mean, it's a 5 and a 4, so like that's not. There's
not
really
much.
underdog there.
We'll move to the Midwest. Similar-ish to the East in the sense of like a lot of the top seeds are gonna win. I think the two teams I'm looking for again the most are probably the 12 and 13 seeds. I have McNeese losing as the 12 seed to Clemson. I'm unbelievably bored by Clemson. McNeese burnt me last year. I'm scared. I'm scared to go back to it. I think they had a ton of hype last year. They're kind of drawing a little bit less hype than they did a year ago, but kind of the same situation. And literally the same exact game against a different opponent. They were in the 5-12 game last year, and this was a scenario, and they got bodied.
You know, you mentioned earlier that Auburn learned from their mistakes, and I think McNeese is going to learn from their mistakes here.
Can definitely see it.
I have them going to the Elite Eight and losing to
Cool.
Houston.
Wait, the Elite Eight or
Elite Eight, wow.
No,
Sweet
Sweet
16.
16. I hate how this bracket is set up.
Yeah, no, this is.
Losing to Houston, beating Purdue. I know we were talking about Purdue, High Point. how that
Purdue.
could be
Oh,
high-
Purdue is so stinky.
No, Purdue is the Dallas Cowboys of college
yeah, we're
basketball.
rocking
Like, come
with
on.
High Point, man.
Come on.
The Panthers.
And High
First
Point,
time. First time.
and High Point, they got a deep bench. Like their offense is good. Like so, matching up against Purdue, especially with how Purdue's been. Like I said, they're the Dallas Cowboys of college basketball. I think they are. I truly believe they could take care of them and win by like 8 or 10 points. I think.
I like this High Point team. I have them advancing. This is so disgusting.
I know what you're gonna say.
I have the Illinois, the 6-11 game with Texas and Xavier both having to play in. I don't care who it is. I hate Illinois. I have Illinois losing either way. It's disgusting. But I think this bracket should be relatively the top seeds are going to take care of business. You know,
Yeah.
you look at it, Tennessee, Houston, Kentucky. Even like this isn't a great Kentucky team, but it's still Kentucky all the same. Yeah. So I think this bracket, this part of the bracket, is going to be it's going to be kind of easy to predict. I tried avoiding this one as long as possible. We go to the West, where two of us have our teams in St. John's University, John Downey University College of Basketball as the number 2 seed after winning the Big East, the Godfather at the helm. And we got the Oklahoma Sooners sneaking in as the 9.
Remember how good Oklahoma started the season too?
They were
Yeah.
They play in the SEC
Yeah.
where 14 teams made it. There's a
Yeah.
And if you
insane.
look at a lot of the games that they lost, very close games, very close games. So they're good. They're a very good team. Iron sharpens iron. But we were saying this, again before we went live. This is probably the deepest region in the whole bracket. You got Florida, you got St. John's, Kansas, and Arkansas, who weren't great teams this year, but they've proven in the past like how good they can be. Texas Tech, Memphis, and the team that really makes me sick looking at my bracket, the UConn Huskies. I want to be wrong so badly. You have no idea how much I want to see Oklahoma go crazy. I have UConn to the Final Four.
That's
It's disgusting.
insane.
It's disgusting. Now-
That's not happening.
Now,
I'll put my life
now,
savings
I
on it.
will give my reasoning with tears in my eyes. You can see my eyes tearing up because of how bad it
Soren,
is.
get him a tissue, Soren.
So I think Oklahoma's fine, but I think Oklahoma made the tournament great. They're not really foresee them doing anything. It's kind of one-dimensional offense with Jeremiah Fears. Then they face Florida. Now, to make me more right, it would have to be Norfolk State. Then I'd feel more confident, but it won't be. I know Florida won the SEC. I don't care. I'm unbelievably not bought in with this team. They went 30-4, and I can't get behind them. So I have UConn facing Memphis, and Memphis gave UConn a great run. They beat them in an absolute shootout earlier this season. So I think it's tough to do it again. And then I have UConn facing the St. John's. And John, I said this to you earlier. Originally in this matchup, I picked St. John's. But because St. John's had beaten them twice this season, it is unbelievably hard to beat a team 3 times in a row. So that puts UConn in the Final Four. Now, my reasoning behind it, and this is not the same UConn team from years past. We can 100% agree on that. Back-to-back reigning national champions. There was all like bad headlines surrounding the team. Yeah, Hurley kind of complaining, but it still is a Dan Hurley coached team. I think we're still forgetting that. I think with how bad they were, bad being that they went 14-6 in conference and still won 20-something games. Like this is still a good UConn team. Am I being unbelievably ballsy with this pick? 100%. Especially if they're in any other region, I think this is less of an argument. I think if they're an 8 seed in any of the other regions or maybe a higher seed in any other region, we're not having as much of an argument with this because we just talked about how difficult the West is. I can't see UConn defending their title for back-to-back years going out. I know most of you have them in like the first or second round. And maybe I'm being ballsy putting them in the Final Four. Maybe they make it to the Sweet 16. I don't know. I cannot fathom UConn being out very early. Now, in 2 days, 3 days, when we look back at this and I'm kicking myself,
We'll make a reel out of it.
yeah, well, you guys can clown me. I give you free reign to make fun of me for this because I know what I'm doing to myself. Maybe it's recency biased. Maybe it's delusion. Maybe it's reverse psychology, and I'm actually hoping that this is the route Oklahoma takes. I don't know. Originally, when I finished this, before I had crowned my original champion, I clicked UConn, looked at it, and said, "You're disgusting." I said, "Get away from your laptop."
To yourself or out
yes,
loud?
I said out loud to myself and walked away from my laptop. This bracket makes me want to throw up. I will keep saying it. But yeah, is there anything else you want to go over in the West? I don't want to talk anymore.
Yeah, I got a big upset inbound. Give me Drake. Give me Drake. Drake's had a rough year. I think we all know why. But I think Drake as a Bulldog, much better, much higher chances. I got him beating Missouri. I got him beating Texas Tech and then losing to St. John's.
I think Drake did it last year, I think, right?
I believe so, yeah.
This Drake team, they're always kind of slotted in at this like 10 to 12 range. And they always seem to have success.
Yeah.
They do a lot. They do a lot of things well. Well, it's kind of like rinse repeat when it comes to some of the stuff. But like Drake does do a ton of things well when it comes to their team this year.
And then
Mizzou's also not like I'm not crazy about Mizzou going deep this year.
Yeah, and then I got Maryland and St. John's into the Elite Eight.
Ooh.
Wow.
The land?
Wow.
Not quite Cleveland, but
They're
land.
sneaky good. I was about to say that. Watch out for Maryland.
That's what I see. All you guys, you were taking Memphis over them?
Memphis is tough, dude.
Yeah,
I like Maryland.
Yeah, Maryland's a good squad. I'm not doubting it. I just think kind of situation is going to be the biggest factor.
Yeah.
I think drawing Memphis in the second. Again, you put Maryland in the Midwest, you put them in the East. It's a different story. But we talked about how deep this West region is. It's tough to. This is the toughest part of the bracket to predict.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any argument.
Mm-hmm. But also think about with Grand Canyon last year when they beat St. Mary's, and then they had Alabama in the final minutes too. So I mean, they could shock Maryland.
Yeah.
Anything can happen in March, you know.
I really miss Loyola.
This is gonna be a tough one for my heart.
Where's Sister Jean at? Where's Sister Jean at?
How old is she?
Like 103. She's hanging on. This is the part of.
She's
bracket.
105. Oh my god.
Good for her.
Way to go.
Lady of the Lord. But even like you look at the 7-10, dude. I have Kansas winning.
That was a tough one for me to pick.
Neither of these teams like wowed me this year, especially with how high the expectations were. But they're still great squads. I think this is no disrespect to Omaha, to Peyton Manning's favorite audible. St. John's is going to have a field. This is a warm-up game for them. They're going to win by 25.
Yeah, they're going to take them down like Omaha's trash
But
cans.
I don't really think like if you had to pick, John, who would you rather face in the second round, Kansas or Arkansas?
I'd rather face Kansas. I actually think Arkansas is a better team. I'm going to be honest with you. I know they're a lower seed, but they're also getting one of their top players back, Boogie Fland, which makes me very nervous. I'm going to, I was saying to all, my cousins, everyone, my dad, my brother, it's like St. John's is one of those teams this year where they're very good. We love them and everything, but they can very easily lose on the second game, round of 32.
Yeah.
That could happen. I know they've had a great year. The 4 losses are only by a combined 7 points, but they can easily. I'm more nervous about the round of 32 than if they were to make the Sweet 16.
Yeah, I think Texas Tech's a great squad too. They're going to be coming out of the middle. But I mean, John, you got the Godfather as the coach.
Yeah, I believe in him. He got the guys ready. That's why I have him going to the Final Four. It's not even bias. I really think they could do it.
I
don't have them winning. I can't do that.
Well, I just think the argument has to be out of the West region. Whoever makes it out is going to be so battered. You look at the competition they're going to be playing. Let's say let's not say I will be wrong, but Florida makes it. Let's say they're the representative from the West. They're going through UConn or Oklahoma, Memphis or Maryland, realistically, or even GCU if they get hot, and then a combination of Arkansas, St. John's, Kansas, Texas Tech. Those aren't easy games in the slightest. It's tough because every other. I think the South is probably the next most interesting. The other two I feel like are kind of cut and dry. But yeah. All right. So we'll go around the board. Let's give our Elite Eight, Final Four, and our national champion. JD, kick us off.
Yeah, so for the Elite Eight, we'll start with the top left. I got Auburn and Iowa State. I know a lot of people don't like Iowa State that much, but I believe in them just because of how well they play in the beginning of the year. I think they can regain that magic now. Then I got Florida and St. John's on the bottom left. We go back up to the right. Who is it? Let's see. Duke and BYU. I really love BYU. I told you guys that. So I think if they lose the first round, it's gonna crush my entire bracket. So they better keep it
I'm in
going.
the same
The
boat.
Mormons better figure it out.
I was gonna
I'm in the
say.
same boat, bro.
So I got Duke and BYU. Honestly, I wanted to go back. I don't think we talked about Duke a ton. I think Oregon has a chance if they play them to beat them. I would watch out for that. I think Oregon turns it on in March for whatever reason. It doesn't matter what year it is. They always do that. And then my last Elite Eight matchup would be Houston and Tennessee, which I think would be an absolute bloodbath, to be honest with you.
I think.
Then we go to the Final Four.
It's gonna be the lowest. It's gonna be the lowest scoring game ever. It's gonna be 40-23.
Yeah. 40 to 38 buzzer beating free throws. Then in the Final Four, I got Auburn beating Iowa State, so they're in there. And then I got St. John's getting to the Final Four against Auburn. And then I got on the other side BYU, like I said, I keep saying that, and Houston as my Final Four. And then I got Auburn beating St. John's and Houston beating BYU, and then Houston becoming the champions. So I think that defense at this point, we always say the NBA defense wins championships. Every sport we
College
say that.
is so
I think
true
this
with
is
it.
yeah. Houston will win just because of how good they have the best defense in the country.
John
so that's
loves-
why I think they will win.
Ladies and gentlemen, breaking news: John loves Cougars.
Houston, the Houston Cougars. but I hope my bracket gets ripped to shreds and St. John's wins the whole thing, of course. But since we're picking, I will say now Houston. Yep.
All right. Corey, you want to go next? I really don't want to talk about mine.
Yeah, so my Elite Eight's very boring, unfortunately. So starting from the South region, Auburn and Michigan State. I got Michigan State beating Auburn. I'm not really sold on Auburn to get to the Final Four. In the East region, I had Duke beating Bama, but part of me feels kind of regretting it. I think Alabama offensively is a little bit better than Duke. I think it's going to be a very close game, but for now I have Duke going to the Final Four. If we go to the West, I have Florida and St. John's, and I have Florida beating St. John's. Sorry, John. And Houston and Tennessee. I got Houston beating Tennessee again with their defense. And the Final Four, Michigan State and Florida. I got Florida moving on. And then Duke and Houston. I have Houston moving on. And then for the national championship, Florida and Houston. I think Florida is going to overcome Houston's defense. I just think Florida is the more complete team. I think it'll be like a 75-70 kind of game. So I got Florida winning it all this year.
Go Gators.
Chomp, chomp.
Chomp, chomp. Gorm, who do we got? What do we got for you, buddy?
All right, so starting off at the South. Now looking at my bracket, I mean, the Elite Eight into the Final Four is honestly pretty boring compared to the rest of the chaos that I have going on outside of it. But to start off with the South, I got Michigan State and Auburn. Heading over to the East, Duke and Wisconsin. Heading back down to the Midwest, Kentucky and Houston. And then in the West, we got St. John's versus Maryland. Moving on to the Final Four, we got St. John's taking down Maryland, Kentucky taking down Houston, Michigan State beating Auburn, and then Duke beating Wisconsin. Making it to the championship, I got Michigan State and Duke. Michigan State taking it home back to East Lansing.
How much does that hurt you to pick Michigan State?
Not that much.
Not enough?
No, I mean, like when I was younger, I was bouncing around. Like I really did not have a true favorite college team. It was always like who was better at the time. And I'm trying to remember what the dude's name was that won Michigan State the Rose Bowl. It was something Connor. I'm drawing
Pat O'Connor. All right, well, you looked it up. Soren, we'll go through your bracket, buddy. Who do we got for your bracket?
Connor Cook.
Hunter Cook. There you go.
For the South, I have for the Elite Eight, I have Auburn and Michigan State.
Okay.
And then for the East, I have Duke and Alabama.
Roll Tide.
And then I have
Bama Blitz.
for the West, I have Florida and St. John's. And then for the Midwest, I have Houston and Kentucky.
Okay.
To the Final Four, I have let's start with the South. I have Michigan State beating Auburn.
Sorry, you just said
which is
that.
pretty bold. But I think the next one's gonna be bolder because if you look at the East, I have Alabama beating.
Okay.
I think Cooper Flag is overrated.
Wow.
That's just not true, Soren.
Uh-oh.
Not true.
Soren can't.
Oh my
John,
God.
John might drive up here.
Soren can't hear you, but John just said,
Oh, I wish
he
"Wow,
could."
be more wrong."
Somebody, we have to make a reel of this.
Wow.
This what?
Wow.
I don't like that one.
And
That's,
then-
No,
I don't
no
like
way.
that either.
Well,
There's hot takes and then there's just
Hold
straight
on.
up ignorance.
there's hot takes and then there's hot takes and then there's Soren.
hold on. There's
Wow.
More.
Okay.
So
There's
if
more.
we go to the West,
Okay.
I have Florida beating St. John's. And then for the Midwest, I have Houston beating Kentucky.
Okay.
So everyone's.
Every. So
I
we
guess I
got
missed
2
it.
1s and 2 2s. All right.
So we have Michigan State, Florida, and Alabama, Houston in the Final Four. National championship game, I have Michigan State over Florida
Really?
and Houston over Alabama.
Ooh.
And then the national championship game, I have Michigan State, Houston. I end up having.
Alrighty. So we got 2 fans of the Cougars.
All right, Soren.
I will say, I'm not going to agree with you and everything, but a Bama Houston Final Four would be electric. You got the best
Yeah.
defense in college basketball against one of the best offenses. I think that'd be an electric game.
I think that'd be electric, but I think if anything has taught us about March Madness is the team that scores the most doesn't really end up
Yeah, I
being
know.
that great.
I definitely, it's definitely it's a little bit scary, but I think that'd be a very interesting matchup. I'm going to delay the inevitable bigs. Who do we got for your Elite Eight and eventual champion?
All right, so my Elite Eight. In the South, I have Louisville and Michigan State.
Oh, Louisville's
I
disgusting.
don't like Auburn very much. I think they're gonna get dropped early.
Okay.
In the East, Duke and Alabama kind of feels like a wash.
Okay.
In the West, I have Maryland and Drake.
Wow.
Drake.
Oh my.
Oh, that's disgusting. I thought I was disgusting. I feel a little bit better about myself now, dude.
Gotta rock with the better Iowa team in this bracket. And then Midwest, Gonzaga, Tennessee.
Gonzaga.
Really? You got the
Wow.
Zags going
I
deep.
think, yeah, Gonzaga, they take out Houston, then get a easy win over Purdue.
I'm just shocked you got Purdue in the Sweet 16.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't sleep
I
on
mean,
McNeese.
Like both McNeese and High Point are like, oh, big upset games. They're both knocking up. For the Final Four, I have Michigan State beating Louisville, Duke beating Alabama, Maryland beating Drake, unfortunately, and Tennessee. Gonzaga. Michigan State takes out Maryland in a Big Ten matchup. Duke, Tennessee, and Michigan State bring it home champion.
Rocking with the Spartans. So we got 2 Spartans and 2 Cougars
And a Gator.
and a Gator. So it comes down to me. I'm really happy I let Biggs go before me because now I don't feel as bad. I still don't feel good, but I don't feel as terrible. So we'll start in the South. I have the Elite Eight matchup being Auburn and the Michigan State Spartans. I have the Spartans coming away with the victory. I think this Tom Izzo team, you can never bet against Izzo. Over in the East, we got the Duke Blue Devils against, a matchup everyone expected, the VCU Rams, Virginia Commonwealth University. Unfortunately, I have the Rams rambling back home. I have the Blue Devils finally ending their Cinderella run. In the West, I mentioned earlier, I got UConn beating.
No.
If it wasn't, it's disgusting. And if it wasn't St. John's, it'd be a different story. But it's so hard to beat a team 3 times in a row. So I got the St. John's getting knocked out by the Huskies. And in the Midwest, a boring matchup. 1 and 2. We got Houston. We got Tennessee. I got Tennessee. I like this Tennessee team. So we move to the Final Four. We got Michigan State against UConn. This is where the Huskies, an unlikely Cinderella run, comes to an end. We got the Spartans dancing on. So we got the Spartans in the national championship once again. And then we got Duke and Tennessee. I think this is where Cooper Flagg's collegiate career comes to an end at the hand of the Tennessee Volunteers. We got the Volunteers. We got Michigan State. We have two solid defenses. We're going to rock with the team from the Midwest. I'm going to rock with Tennessee to pick up the national championship victory. Total points, I have it 124. I think it's going to be very low scoring. It's not going to be the most entertaining game if you... Yeah, I don't... these defenses are very good.
No, I put mine at 123. That's the only reason I brought it up for Duke, Michigan State.
I got 125. Look at that.
Oh, look at us.
Wow.
Well,
126.
I
Anyone
just think it's going to be very... It's going to be very... I wouldn't say low scoring, but these defenses are very tough. I don't think there's going to be any easy baskets, which is going to... If you want a 115 to 112 game, go watch the NBA. But if you want like a tightly defended game, bodies on the line, this is the game.
Yeah, if you want real basketball.
If you want real man's basketball, this is what to watch. So to recap, we got Gorm and Jack picking the Spartans. We got Corey as the lone Gator, and we have two Houston Cougars in Soren and JD. So even though we're not the same Corey, we got both SEC.
Let's go. Let's
Roll
go.
with the best conference in all of sports. We're going to move on from March Madness because I think if I look at my bracket for any longer, you're going to see something you don't want to see. So we're going to move over to baseball with the MLB regular season, and I hate it, but the MLB regular season starting tomorrow with the Tokyo series. Why are we starting during spring training? I don't know.
At 6 a.m.
Well, it is time zones. I understand that. But,
Yeah.
look, I love me some breakfast baseball. But that means I have to get up really early, and I don't want to do all that. But yeah, so with the MLB season officially kicking off tomorrow, we're going to make some predictions, go over everything. So we'll start with the major awards. With the American League MVP, I'm going to rock with the runner-up from a year ago and possibly my favorite player, Mr. Bobby Witt Jr., shortstop for the Kansas City Royals. I mean, he was excellent. Obviously, you're losing to Aaron Judge when he leads baseball in every statistical category when it comes to offense. It's bound to happen. But, I mean, if you look at his progression, each year he's gotten better and better. And his steals were down last year. He only had, I think, 31 stolen bases compared to 42 in his sophomore season. He plays great defense. Kansas City team's winning now. A lot of things are going right for Mr. Witt, and I'm going to say this is the season where it goes right for him. Bobby Witt Jr., my American League MVP. JD, who's your AL MVP?
I got Vlad Jr. I think he's going to be on a big mission for himself this year. I don't think the Blue Jays, Corey, will have much team success. Well, I think they'll be okay, but I don't think they'll be a postseason team. Yeah, so I think they'll kind of be a hover around 500 type of team, but I think he's going to bold prediction right now, at least 45 home runs from him.
It's a contract year,
hopefully,
man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And I think that he's going to be on a mission, and then he will hit his at least 45 home runs, and then find himself a new home next year. But I think he'll get an AL MVP on the way.
John, do you think he could end up in a certain team that resides in Queens?
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for. I mean, we have a nice we'll have a nice open spot for him. So hopefully.
Corey, who do you have as your American League MVP?
You know, I also had Vlad Jr., not only because I'm a Blue Jays fan, but he just had an up year like last year, hitting, I think it was like 320 something.
Yeah.
Season before wasn't really playing good. And I also agree with him being in his last year. I think the whether the Blue Jays are good or not, I think the organization's just going all in. And I agree. I think Vlad could really, really do it this year.
All right, we'll switch over to the National League with quite possibly the easiest pick of all time, Shohei Ohtani.
Don't even have to say it.
Yeah, Ohtani.
I mean, he's not supposed to throw until a little bit later in the season, but it doesn't matter. Shohei Ohtani went 50-50 last year. He is the greatest player to ever walk the face of the earth. That's all I got for Mr. Ohtani. John, any argument?
No. I mean, he's going to have to pitch. If he doesn't even pitch, he'll still win, so it doesn't matter.
Corey, any argument with
Oh.
Ohtani?
Yeah, I do have an argument. No, I actually don't. Because there's no.
The only way he doesn't win is if he gets hurt. And I'm not praying for that at all. Watching Ohtani is still the greatest thing ever.
Oh, yeah.
We are so blessed to be able to watch that.
Mhm.
That is the only way he doesn't win. I think next year voter fatigue will finally set in, but I think he'll win his 3rd straight MVP and 2nd in the National League. All right, we'll switch over to Cy Young, which both my songs were very spicy. I'll start with the American League. I'm going to go with the Detroit Tigers pitcher, but I'm not going to go with Mr. Tariq Skubal. I'm going with Jack Flaherty. Cam loves that pick. I see you nodding over there. I think this Tiger team is going to be very good this year. Look, Flaherty, you saw his potential in St. Louis, and then towards the end of his tenure there, he really struggled. Injuries piled up. I think it was to Detroit last year, and he lights the world on fire. Ends up getting traded before Detroit, starts winning a bunch of games. And he wasn't terrible with the Dodgers, but he wasn't great. He's back with the Tigers, who helped him find that success. It is going to pay dividends. I think Mr. Flaherty is going to go crazy. I think FanDuel had him at like plus 5,500 to win. Once again, you have to look at the other arms that are there. And I think there's a ton of other options. John, I'm looking at the notes. I love your pick, but I just couldn't pull the trigger. I think it's Jack Flaherty, man. I think Detroit, in the early to mid 2010s, they had a very deep rotation. Scherzer, Verlander, Rick Porcello when he was balling out. David Price after his time in Tampa Bay. Like, I think the next great Tigers rotation is on the cusp of coming up. And you saw it with Skubal, and I think this year you're going to see it with Mr. Flaherty. But JD, who do you have as Cy Young?
Yeah, I'm going to stay in the same division as you. I'm going to go with Cole Reagans from the Royals. I love watching him pitch. I'm not a fan of lefties, to be honest with you, but he's one guy I can lock in and watch, and I think he's going to take another step than what he did last year. I mean, last year he pitched like a 3.1 ERA, something around there. That was his first really, really good year, and I think he can get into 2s this year, like legitimately like a 2.3 ERA type of guy. I could see it happening.
The only reason I didn't pull the trigger with him is because I picked Witt Jr., and it's really hard for the same team to win multiple awards when at least it comes to the 2 major ones. But I love Reagans too. Reagans is one of the favorites. I think it's Skubal, someone in between, and then Reagans, if I'm not mistaken. I love Reagans though. Corey, I saw who you were looking up, and I also love this pick. It is contingent on one thing, which you'll get into.
Yep.
But Corey, who is your AL Cy Young pick?
Now, again, I'm no baseball expert, but I went with a feeling, and I was doing a little bit of reading and that, and familiarity also. But Jacob deGrom, I just feel like he's going to have a bounce back year, with the Tommy John, and didn't really pitch too much in 2024. I don't know. I just think he's finally going to bounce back and have an opportunity to play like he used to be.
I mean, you saw it with Chris Sale after 4 straight seasons with Boston being shelved, this, that, and the other injuries running it, and he comes back and balls out last year. DeGrom, it has never been about, he's not as good as he once was. Jacob DeGrom, when he's on the mound, is the best pitcher on earth. But you only see him for about 12 innings a season.
Yep.
So if you get 150 plus innings out of DeGrom, he is the best pitcher in baseball. And John, saying that you saw prime DeGrom firsthand, it's fully contingent on him staying healthy. But if Jacob DeGrom stays healthy, is there an argument?
No, there's no argument because he will be the best pitcher in the league. I'm really rooting for him, too. I'm glad he grew the hair out again. He's getting his mojo back.
His power's in the flow,
He looked really happy. I've seen, some interviews. He looked really like he's back into it. Because he struggled with it, mentally, too. I know, with interview, when he was getting interviewed, he was, emotional about, getting hurt and all that. So it would be a really good story as well. I'm rooting for him.
Dude, I saw a report when I was driving up yesterday from Bleacher Report that the Cleveland Guardians were watching his bullpen. Just watching it as a fan.
Guys from them were watching him.
Crazy. All right, switching over to the National League. This pick is also out there. He's one of my favorite pitchers in all of baseball, primarily because he is a New Jersey native. But Mr. Zach Gallen of the Arizona Diamondbacks. Similar situation that we talked about with Vladito. He's in a contract year. Now he's not even the ace on his own team. They brought in Corbin Burns, who is the ace on that squad. Prior to last year, he had a little bit of a down year last year. The last 2 years prior, though, he was, I think, 5th and 3rd in Cy Young voting. He has the talent. I think he's going to want to prove that he's still a top arm and he deserves to get paid. And I also think the pressure of being an ace, kind of a similarity with Flaherty, of he doesn't have to be the top arm. I think the pressure's a little bit off. He had his down year. Now it's time to bounce back. it's a bold take because there is a lot more. There's plenty of safer options. But I'm out here trying to be spicy. You saw it with UConn. Spicy leads to diarrhea sometimes.
That's true. Yeah.
Spicy leads to diarrhea poo-poo, as Russell Wilson would say. But yeah, no, I'm rocking with Mr. Zach Gallen. JD, you're going with a bit of a safe option, but yeah, I mean, you can't deny it.
Yeah, honestly, I wasn't as I was gonna go with Gallon as well, and then I was like, you know what, let's play it safe. Paul Skeens, obviously from the Pirates, we know how good he is, and I think his leash will be taken off this year, so he'll be able to pitch no really limit of innings. He'll be fine. I hope that the Pirates are decent enough where he can have a chance. So hopefully they can do something to score some runs for him to let him pitch well. But I think regardless, he'll still win Cy Young.
All right, Corey.
Yeah, I also went the safe pick, Paul Skeens. Also, I just think he's the only thing going for the Pirates organization. I'm sorry, Biggs.
Well, hold on. They have Jack Sawinski.
No.
Jack Sawinski hits bombs when he hits.
They got Danny Burgess as a hitting coach. Don't forget that, Corey.
But yeah, no, I went with the safe option. I'm like, he looks so good in his rookie year. I mean, rightfully so. And yeah, Paul Skeens.
I think this Pirates rotation is going to be really good. Skeens is a stud. We saw that last year.
Yeah.
Jared Jones is really good, man. I think his numbers didn't really like his at like plain view. He didn't look great. He's a good pitcher. Mitch Keller was a good pitcher. Had a tough second half, but he was solid. Bubba Chandler too. Bigsy and I were talking about him earlier. Looked phenomenal in the spring breakout game. Probably won't see him till about midseason, maybe a little bit earlier or later. But I love me some Bubba Chandler. Speaking of, Bubba Chandler would be a rookie if he gets caught up. We're going to move to Rookie of the Year. We'll start in the American League. I'm going to go with a man from the Boston Red Sox. The Boston has 3 top 15 prospects in baseball. I think any one of them could be the American League Rookie of the Year, but I'm going to go with the safest one, who is probably going to be guaranteed the most playing time, and that is Roman Anthony, the number 2 prospect in all of baseball. Going to get reps in center field. He's just a beast. He is a stud. And especially he's in a situation where the pressure is not on. Obviously, you're a top prospect. There's going to be pressure no matter what. But they're not going to call him up and be like, you need to change this franchise. You look at the Red Sox. They brought in Bregman. They still have Devers. Tristan Casas, they have a lot of faith in. Jaron Duran balled out last year. Like, he's not getting called up with, like, you need to make the biggest impact right away. He's going to, but it's not necessary. And I think the lack of pressure of needing to carry a franchise is going to help out Mr. Anthony. JD, who do you got?
I like that one. Yeah, I was going to say, I like that one a lot. I'm going to go with Jackson Jobe, who pitched for the Tigers 4 innings last year before he well, that was at the end of the year, so he's still technically a rookie because of service time.
Yeah.
I think his role will expand a lot more this year, and I know his spring training stats they're okay. I mean, 3.65 ERA. I don't really buy stock into that anyway. I think once he gets comfortable in a specific role, especially as a young pitcher, when you know your role right away, that helps a lot. And I think he's going to blossom by the end of the year and win Rookie of the Year in the AL.
I mean, there is a reason that he is the second-ranked pitcher in all of all of the prospects. So there's a reason he's the second-ranked pitcher. He's a stud, and especially too. Like, he didn't pitch great in the postseason last year. I mean, as a rookie, getting postseason experience after only throwing 4 innings, it's huge. Again, struggled, but it's still. And also, again, pressure is not necessarily on as much as even being a top prospect will weigh on you. You look at, I mentioned the rotation earlier. He's not the top arm. He doesn't have the pressure of having to come up. Like, Skeens came up last year, and everyone expected him to be the Pirates' savior. And now the Pirates need more than one savior. They need new ownership. Not the only thing they got going for them is a great stadium. Really, like, let's be honest. But no, seriously, like, the rotation that he is going to have around him of, veteran arms. Even if you look at guys who may not be studs, I think Reese Olson, Casey Mize, Manning, if he ends up back in the rotation, these are very solid options that Jobe can slot in and not have to have, a ton of pressure on him. Corey, who do you got for the American League?
I was gonna go Anthony, but I'm gonna change mine just to be a little different. Chase DeLauder for the Guardians outfielder, 6'3", 235. He's athletic. In the Arizona Fall League, he was ranked number 2 prospect second straight year, batting .261, 8 homers, mostly in the Double-A. He played in 3 levels, but He's a guy that stood out to me when I was reading up on some of the what MLB.com has as some of the Rookie of the Year candidates.
Okay. So the only thing that would hurt him is he is sidelined till May. He does have a little bit of a corma. I think it's oblique. But 100%, dude. I think he's a stud, and especially if you look at Cleveland, I forget what they took out in their outfield. They took out some piece of wall or stands or something, and any ball that's hit the right field, the wind gets hold of. if he, lefty, being able to go lefty there, man. I mean, he can absolutely ball out. He has not overwhelming pop in the bat, but definitely some pop there for sure. Yeah, I don't hate it, man. I don't hate it. Switching over to the National League. Technically, he's a rookie when it comes to MLB, but he has more experience than anyone in his, scorched earth. John and I said, "Oh, it's so hard to win for a team to win 2 awards." Well, it's going to happen here with the Los Angeles Dodgers and their day 2 pitcher of the Tokyo Series, Mr. Roki Sasaki. Scorched earth, 102, disgusting, nasty. That's all I got. John, we know how it's going to be.
Yeah, and anything we should have said before about certain teams not winning multiple awards, except the Dodgers. We have to keep that in mind. They will win as many awards as possible. But yeah, Sasaki, nothing much to really. I think honestly, do think he'll struggle in the beginning of the year just to get adjusted. But after that, once he gets through that, he'll be unhittable.
Definitely. I think, throwing in Tokyo too for your first major league outing is definitely going to help out as well. Corey, what do you got?
I had Dylan Cruz.
I like it.
Dylan Cruz. Right now, I mean, he's showed steady improvement at LSU, and just every minor league stop he's made, like he just looks good. He hits. I like him. I really do.
He's going to be a core piece for this next national team that comes up. I mean, they got James Wood. Cruz is going to be a big part of it. They love Abrams there, apart from, his gambling thing. Well, that happens. That happens. Call 1-800-GAMBLER, CJ Abrams. But no, I really like the young core that the Nats are putting together. And Cruz is going to be the big piece of that. Yeah. All right, we'll move to the last one, Manager of the Year. We'll start in the American League, and I got the man at the helm for the Boston Red Sox, Alex Cora. God, this team is so good. I hate Garrett Crochet. I'll die defending that. I'm not bought in on Crochet. I think that's the worst move the Red Sox have made, and it shouldn't be because he's so good. I can't buy into it. I don't know why. I don't know what it is about it, but I'm not crazy about it. But this Boston team is going to be dominant, and Boston's going to make a deep run, and it's going to be primarily due to the roster, but Cora is going to lead them there, especially in a tough AL East. JD, who do we got?
I'm in agreement with you, Alex Cora, as well. I think that regardless of the talent of the team, you always know he can get the most out of them. And now he actually has probably one of the most talented teams he's had since he's been there. So combine that together, he'll win a nice award. And I don't want to spoil it, but I think the team will have a lot of success as well.
100%. Corey, who's your AL manager of it?
Well, I went safe with Aaron Boone. I think the Yankees aren't going to slow down. Even though they lost Soto, I think with Goldschmidt and Bellinger, I think the Yankees are going to be just fine this regular season.
Yeah. I'm interested with the rotation. G. Cole being shelved for the year. He'll not back till July. So I'm curious on what they go with. They're probably going to have to make some moves, and they'll spend at the deadline. They've been rumored with Arenado the whole time. Ryan Helsley as well. So when St. Louis is out of it, I wouldn't be surprised if those two get shipped to the Bronx. Would love to see it too. But yeah, no, I think this Yankees team they're always going to be in the mix. If you have Aaron Judge and, build a good core around them, they're going to be fine. National League, I have a little bit of ballsy one because I don't have them making the playoffs. I have them missing by a little bit. I have brand new manager of the Cincinnati Reds, Tito Terry Francona. I love the young core they have there. Headlined by Ellie De La Cruz, Hunter Green. Those are two of the top guys. Matt McClain's back this year. They have a lot going for them. It's a lot of young guys, and I think bringing in a vet like Tito is really going to benefit this young squad. And I don't have them making the playoffs, but I have them winning 85-plus games. I think they have the talent to. I think especially with Rhett Lauder is another guy who's supposed to come up. Noelvi Marte had a bad year last year. I think he's going to bounce back. Heck, even if Chase Burns finds his way up to the big club by the end of the season. I know he was drafted last year, but I mean, there's a lot going for this young Red squad. I think Tito is going to be the guy who leads them to the promised land.
Yeah, good one. I agree with that as well. I mean, I honestly I think we're making all really good picks right now, but I'm just gonna go. I hate this one. I'm gonna say it anyway. Dave Roberts.
safe. It's safe.
Unfortunately, it just pains me to say, but guys, I don't. You already know this. The MLB loves the Dodgers, and anything they can do to suck in the Dodger air, they will. And Dave Roberts will win
So
Manager of the Year as well.
John, as he mentioned earlier, it's so hard for teams to win multiple awards. Proceeds to have
Except
the
the
same
Dodgers,
team
except-
to win 3
and I'm in the same boat with John. I have Dave Roberts because the Dodgers. Not to spoil, but as you said about the Red Sox, I think the Dodgers are going to find a lot of success this year.
Alrighty, so we'll go through the divisions and our eventual World Series champion. For me, we'll do all the divisions and I'll do my wild card as well. I have the Red Sox being the American League champion, or American League East champion. I think, just with the injuries to the Yankees, it's going to slow them down a little bit. I think Boston's too good. It's going to be close, but I'm going to give the edge to Boston. In the Central, I'm going to rock with the Kansas City Royals. I love this team. It's again, very tight between them and Detroit, but I'm going to give the edge to KC. And out West, I love this Texas squad. Super talented. You add DeGrom, who I'm banking in on being healthy. Kumar Rocker's set to come up. Hopefully Jack Leiter can figure it out. I think this Texas team could be very good. The NL East, it might be a little bit of bias. I don't care. I think Atlanta missing Acuna and Strider for the first month is going to hurt. I think the Mets being without Alvarez for a little bit's going to hurt. I'm rocking with the Phillies, man. They didn't make any flashy moves. Mets go and bring in Soto. And I love the move. I'm not dissing the move in the slightest. I think these teams are going to be very unbelievably competitive. But with that, Philadelphia brought in Jesus Luzardo to be our 5th starter. Ranger Suarez is our 3rd or 4th. Kind of depends on the day with Chris Sanchez. I love the Jordan Romano move. Romano had a bad year in Toronto last year. Injuries kind of ruined it. But before that was a stud. They're having faith in Kerkering to take on a bigger role, who hasn't been great in the postseason. I even love Max Kepler coming in. Max Kepler has been killing spring training. And again, spring training, take it with a grain of salt. But I really have a ton of faith with the Phils. In the Central, I have the Cubs. I think the Brewers are going to be close, but I'm going to give the edge to the Cubs. I just think they have too much going for them. And out West, by no surprise, the Los Angeles Dodgers with 135 wins. As for the wild cards, I have the Yankees being the top wild card in the American League. I have the Tigers as the second. I think it's going to be very close. They're going to finish a game behind KC. And, John, you said they weren't going to have a ton of team success. I think this is the year that they do. I think the Toronto Blue Jays somehow sneak into the final playoffs. But I don't think Baltimore did enough in the offseason to really solidify their team. And they have to pay some of these guys coming up, so I'm okay with it. It's not the worst thing. But, yeah, no, I think this is the year that Toronto sneaks in. No one else in the West really scares me. I'm not bought in with Houston. Seattle can't hit. But yeah, no, I'm saying the Blue Jays are my final team. As for the National League, I have the New York Mets as the top wild card squad, followed by the Atlanta Braves. I think, again, just like last year, it's going to be neck and neck with these guys. I think it's going to be a lot closer in the division as well. I think Philly maybe wins the division by 2 games, and then New York and Atlanta are right behind them. And then my final wild card, I have the Arizona Diamondbacks. Again, their pitching is so good. I think their bats. Carroll had a down year. Who's going to bounce back? They brought in Josh Naylor to replace Walker, so defensively they're getting a little bit worse. But I think Naylor absolutely mashes. Ketel Marte's a stud. So I'm going to have Arizona to be my final wild card team. JD, go around. Who is making the playoffs?
Yeah, so I'll start with the divisions as well, and then I'll get into the wild card. So I know I'm very high on the Red Sox, and you'll see by the end. But I think the Yankees win the division. Just the Yankees are, I don't know, they figure it out in the regular season. Then when the postseason comes, they usually crumble. So I think they will win the division. Despite the injuries to the pitching staff, I think they'll be fine. I'm sure they'll make a good trade as well to help that. Then the AL Central, I literally wrote flip a coin because I honestly couldn't tell you who would win. But if I had to pick, it would probably be, I think I would go with the Tigers. I think they're very talented and have probably the best manager in the division, if I would say. If I had to rank them, I think AJ Hinch is very good, and he will get them over the top there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm with you with the Rangers as well. I think they're a really good team. Suffered injuries last year that they're going to bounce back from, and I think they'll be okay. In the NL East, I'm going to go with the Braves for now, but I think it can change a lot. And I really think the Mets could win the division as well as the Phillies. They're both very good teams, but I think the Mets have that most room to grow. I think out of the three teams because of the pitching staff is a little bit of a question mark. Like Clay Holmes, he can very easily be a Cy Young candidate, or he can be the worst starter in baseball.
For him, for you. I'm very excited for him.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's the thing. I think I still need to see what the pitching staff can do as a whole. As well, I mean, even with the Braves, like I have them winning the division, but injuries and other question marks. I think if you combine it and they're all good, they're going to win the division with a lot of wins because they're a really, really good team. And then the NL Central, I'm going to go with the Brewers just because they understand how to win games. I think the Cubs are still trying to get to that point. And yeah, no, I was going to say no wild card teams from there. And then the NL West, I got the Dodgers, of course. But then we can do the wild card. AL, I have the Red Sox. I had the Orioles before them, but it's the Red Sox first wild card. I think the Orioles will still make it somehow. I don't know how, but they will. I just had that gut feeling. No one from the AL Central, and then the Mariners. I think that pitching will just get them to sneak in this year. Probably the Mariners are ahead of the Orioles. So Red Sox, Mariners, Orioles, and then the NL. I would go with the Mets and the Phillies, either order. It doesn't matter to me. I think they'll both have over 90 wins. And then the other wild card would come from the NL West, Diamondbacks, or the Padres. So I think either one of those teams can sneak in.
If you had to pick.
Right now, the Diamondbacks, yes. But I think that the Padres can definitely, if they keep all their pieces, that's what I'm worried about.
Yeah.
If they keep all their pieces, they can make it. Yeah.
Corey, who we got? Go around the divisions, go around the wild cards.
All right, so in the AL, I have the Yankees. Like I said, I think the Yankees are going to be okay with losing Soto. The AL Central, again, I also think is a toss-up, but I give the slight edge to the Tigers. I think the Tigers or the Royals could take that. And again, like I said with the Rangers, with DeGrom, I think the Rangers will get that. I also think the Astros are like a franchise, or like a dynasty kind of in decline, like the golden age is kind of over.
Yep.
The NL, again, I think the NL East is really close, but right now I give it to the Phillies. I think even though they haven't made a lot of moves, I think sometimes that works out in your favor. Like if it ain't broke, don't fix it, you know. This NL Central, I think, is really close. I give the Brewers the slight edge. I'm not super sold on the Cubs just yet. I think they got to prove me wrong. And obviously the Dodgers. And the wild card, the Mets and the Braves will get the 1 and the 2. I just think the NL East is just too loaded. And the Padres, I think, is the 3rd. And then the wild card, the Red Sox. I have the Blue Jays just for my sake. I think they can compete with the Orioles. I think the Red Sox are better than the Orioles and the Jays, but I think they got a chance. And the last wild card spot, I think the Royals. I think the Royals will sneak in there and have another run again.
The Central is always weird for both the American and National League. It always seems like they only win 87 games, but I feel like at least in the American League Central, it might turn a little bit. I think both these teams are about 90, on the verge of 90 plus wins, if not guaranteed to be there. But I love it. But all right, so World Series time. JD, who's winning the World Series?
The Dodgers will face the Red Sox, but they will unfortunately win again. And I do think in the NLCS they will get either the Braves, Mets, or Phillies that will push them to the limit. But I still think that that'll be their World Series because they'll get there against whoever makes the American League again, and they'll spank them probably 5 games again.
I had the same thing last night when I was putting it in. Dodgers and Red Sox. Give me the Dodgers. I'll give the Red Sox 2 games. Rematch of 2018. I think Red Sox will steal the first game somehow, and then from there kind of fall off a little bit. I'll say for the championship series, we'll do Boston, and I got a feeling that Detroit's going to make a deep run. I don't know why. I think Detroit, they're a deep squad, so I think Detroit somehow faces off against Boston. Boston wins in 5. Dodgers face Atlanta and body them. Corey, who do you got for?
I went safe. Dodgers, Yankees again. Dodgers will win, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Red Sox beat the Yankees, or at some point the Yankees just fold in the playoffs. Part of me doesn't feel like they can have back-to-back World Series appearances.
All right, let's move away from the diamond. Go back to the gridiron just very briefly. We talked about a lot of the moves on Wednesday, but some big news coming out last night in the great city of Cincinnati, extending both of their star receivers in Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Chase agreeing to a 4-year, $161 million deal with $112 million guaranteed. while Mr. Higgins is signing a 4-year, $115 million deal that is guaranteed for the first 2 seasons. John made the joke in the group chat, Bengals aren't going to be able to pay for defense, but at least they have fun offense.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, they're going to score, 30 points again and lose every game by giving up 35. It is a good move, though. Like, you want to keep your quarterback happy, but now you look at, like, how does Hendrickson feel right now? He's not getting a contract from them. There's no way.
He's not good. All he does is get sacks. You look at the other stats outside of sacks, he's not a good football player.
But, I mean, if you could sack the quarterback,
it
goes a long way.
Well, this is where they're going to be aggressive in the draft. They're going to build up the O-line through the draft. They're going to build up the defense through that. And I think you have to be okay with that. You had to secure guys. I think they overpaid for Higgins a little bit, but it is what it is. Speaking of receivers, Mr. Cooper Kupp heading to the Pacific Northwest, heading back home, excuse me, to join the Seattle Seahawks. And now you have a 1-2 punch for Sam Darnold in Jackson Smith-Njigba and Cooper Kupp. So does that make Seattle, who was kind of lying in the weeds last year, they were there. They weren't great. They brought in their new quarterback. They brought in a new toy for him. Is this Seattle team legit?
I don't know.
They'll probably sneak a wild card spot. I don't think they take the NFC West from the Rams. It'll make the division a little bit more competitive, I guess.
Oh, you're forgetting another team in the West, Cam. What about them Niners?
Oh, I don't care. They're over. that window. Yeah, I think we can all agree here. That window has closed. I don't think Brock Purdy is going to be able to do too much. I don't know.
Yeah.
They got rid of a lot of people, but who knows? Maybe they draft really well. But I mean, that division now is. I mean, the Rams should walk away with that for free. They might be able to squeeze the 7th wild card spot, but I don't know. I'm still not a big fan of Sam Darnold.
Fair. All right. And the last big news that came out this morning, about an hour or so before we went live, Mr. Derek Stingley, cornerback for the Houston Texans, just signed a 3-year, $90 million contract with $89 million guaranteed. Now, let me ask this. Why are you not guaranteeing the final million at that point? Is that really the big? At that point? Is that really the big thing? But it does make him the highest paid cornerback in NFL history. This is a week after J.C. Horn got what was the biggest contract, a 4-year, $25 per year contract for $100 million. And Stingley's been great, All Pro this year. He went before Sauce Gardner back in that draft, and at the early, the first year or two post-draft, it seemed like Sauce was the best corner, and maybe Houston made a mistake. Since then, Stingley has been a absolute dog, and well deserving of that contract. All right, I think it's time for a little bit of gambling advice. Not so much gambling advice, but it's time for the HKB Monday Parlay. Please remember that gambling is a serious issue. If you have a problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER today. All right, boys, let's go make us some money. I'm going to kick us off. Rarely do I do this, but I'm going to go with some hockey here. I'm going with the Tampa Bay Lightning, just their money line to beat the Philadelphia Flyers. Primarily because I'm so mad at the Flyers right now and I hate them. Flyers took the first 2 matchups against Tampa Bay, so I really can't see them taking all 3. Now, they did win both by shootout, so they did outshoot Tampa Bay, though, which is interesting in both games. The Flyers can't Flyers can't score, Flyers can't defend, and they're a bad hockey team. So that's 1. They lost 6 of their last 7 on a homestand, nonetheless. The only win was against Tampa Bay back on the 13th, but it is what it is. I don't care. Give me the Lightning to beat the Flyers. I swear to God if the Flyers win tonight. Corey, what do you got?
I got the Columbus Blue Jackets money line against the Devils. I kind of have a gut feeling about this. While the Jackets have come in losing 3 in a row, including one of those losses being to the Devils on the road. Forgot to mention they are playing the Devils. I think that ends in this game. The Jackets have been excellent at home, 28-4. They beat the Devils in their first meeting 4-2. And Adam Fantilli's been great, 10 points in his last 10 games. Jackets are going to get the win and end the losing streak.
There you go. Soren, what do you got for your leg of the parlay?
I will be taking Anthony Edwards, 25 or more points. He's So basically, Edwards so far this year has been averaging at least over 24 points per game. But I expect him to have a pretty good performance against the Indiana Pacers. We'll have to see what happens with that.
There you go. Cam, what do you got for the final leg?
All right, to wrap it up, I'm taking Karl Anthony Towns for 20 points plus. Jalen Brunson has been out for the last couple of games and is looking to still be out for, I think, what, John, till the 24th or
He's
something?
out for another like 3 weeks.
Yeah,
2 weeks,
3
something
weeks
like
or
that, yeah.
something. Yeah, so in his last 5 games, 4 of the 5, he's gotten over 20 points. I think the last one was like the 9th of March, and he had like, I don't even know, like 15 points, but Brunson, I believe, was still in the lineup at that time. But looking to go 5 games in a row, over 20 points. I mean, honestly, I was considering going for a double-double for him, but I think 20 points should be a lock.
Let's be a little safe here.
Yeah, he's at least had more than 21 points for the last 4 games. So.
All right, so to recap the HKB Monday parlay, we got the Columbus Blue Jackets to pick up the victory, the Tampa Bay Lightning to pick up the victory, Karl Anthony Towns to score 20 or more points, and Anthony Edwards to score 25 plus, about 430 odds, give or take. Please remember that gambling is a serious issue. If you have a problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER today. All right, boys, we're going to wrap this up just because we know JD has to be out. You know, John Downey, a busy man, some would say. So we're going to do our HKB weekly picks. Corey, still the champion. You're such a loser.
That's right.
You're a loser. That was mean. I'm sorry.
Loser that's winning.
Yeah, you're a loser that's winning, but you're a top. The standings, don't we? All right, JD, we'll let you kick it off, as we do know you do have to bolt very soon. Who do you got in Game 1 of the Tokyo series to kick off the MLB season?
Yeah. Once again, the Dodgers. They're going to win 7-4. I don't think they're going to start out too hot. I think they're going to come out bold predict. Not really bold, but come back against the Cubs bullpen at the end of the game, win the game 7-4.
I agree. I have the Dodgers to win 8-3. You know, we've seen in these international series games to start the season, a lot of the time the pitchers only go about 4 or 5 innings, maybe 75 pitches. So even though it is Imanaga and Yamamoto tomorrow, I really don't see them going more than 4 or 5 innings. I think, you know, I'm excited to see them duel, but it's going to be an abbreviated duel. And besides Presley, I really don't know how to feel about this Cubs bullpen. I think it's going to be very close, maybe about a 2-2 game through the first 4 or 5 innings. And then that's where the Dodgers offense will explode. So I got the Dodgers 8-3. Corey, what do you got?
I got Dodgers 5-2. Like we've said, the Dodgers are the ultimate powerhouse. I mean, they're playing in creative mode right now. And as Shannon Sharp would say, you could say LMFAO, Soren's car got towed, Jerry Jones got to go, Dodgers by 3.
Cam, please go.
Yeah, so this is where the Dodgers begin their run to be the first MLB team to win 162 games in a regular season. Probably 162-0 is their record this year. So 6-2 Dodgers. Ohtani's somehow going to find a way to get 6 home runs. I mean, he doesn't lose to the hometown crowd. Is he from Tokyo? Probably.
He's from, I know he's Japan. I don't know where specifically.
It's a giant city. He's probably from some suburb in there.
Soren, who do you got for this great matchup?
I will be taking the Dodgers in this series, and I don't remember what the score was offhand. But I know it's pretty tight. I would say like 6.
Okay.
I remember, but Cameron can correct me if I'm wrong. That's who I have, but I think the Dodgers are.
Yeah. All right. Bigsy, wrap us up. Which way is this game going?
Dodgers 7-5. Gonna be a wash. They're gonna go 156 and lose 6 games to the Pirates.
All right. All right. So everyone's picking the Dodgers. So no one will be able to jump you. Maybe point.
Maybe by point, yeah.
Yeah, but should be close. But yeah, boys, we got anything before we wrap this one up?
No, happy March. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah. Big Lutheran guy over here. JD, have fun. Be safe. Heal up, buddy, in the boot. But we're going to hope he's out of the boot soon, ladies and gentlemen. Not like a cowboy. Not
and,
not
go
a cowboy
Johnnies.
boot. Go Johnnies. Yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
John Downey University. Make sure to tune in. That's going to do it for this edition of He Knows Ball. Make sure to follow, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Corey Ayub to my right. Cam Gorman at left. Soren is out.